What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So tomorrow is going to be a very big day for stimulus talks. Now I'm going to explain why in this video, so just bear with me. But earlier today, Nancy Pelosi and President Biden both gave us updates as to what we could expect in regards to stimulus moving forward. So this is key, and I want to dive into what both of them said and what we are hearing from reports around the White House. So first, here's what we know. A lot of people have been speculating that Republicans are never, and I repeat, never, going to support a $1.9 trillion stimulus package. And although that does seem highly likely, and that is 100% true, there are reports that say some Republicans might be on board for a little bit less or a compromise in some way or another. What we know is that both Nancy Pelosi and new Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, they said that they will reach bipartisan agreement where they can. Both of them said this exact same thing. Now, this is key. This simply tells us that Democrats at this point are planning on negotiating parts of this $1.9 trillion stimulus package with Mitch McConnell and Republicans. This is also being reported that it is going to take months. It's going to take months to even come to some type of agreement. However, this isn't necessarily a bad thing. And I want to explain why, because I know there's going to be people hating down the comments, hitting that thumbs down button. I get it, because they are just upset this is going to take months. But there's a good reason why this could take months. Again, it's not great, but there's a reason why Democrats are thinking about, let's just wait a couple months and then we'll pass a larger package. I'll get to that in a second. But multiple reports out today are stating that Democrats have two paths forward. They have two options. The first option is they go for a little bit of a faster resolution. However, by doing this, it would require bipartisan support from Republicans, which means it's going to be a smaller package. Some are saying, and especially Bloomberg, is saying this could only be about $900 to $1 trillion. So again, it's not a lot. It's exactly what we had passed at the end of December. However, option number two, path number two, which is the better of the two options, according to Democrats, is they push for a larger stimulus package, but that could take months. That could take months in order to get either some bipartisan agreement or can get a little messy and they go with a budget reconciliation. Right now, Democrats seem to be on board with the second option. They're comfortable with waiting another month or so in order to pass a stimulus package through a bipartisan support. However, and I get it, many of you are going to be upset, but what we are hearing is that this is currently where we're at. This is currently where Democrats stand. They have these two options they're currently trying to weigh. The White House is wanting Congress to pass something as quickly as possible. However, it's not just Democrats that are going to vote on it. If every single Democrat voted and passed this, it would have to go through a budget reconciliation through the Senate. And right now, Joe Biden, or President Biden, does not want to do that. We also heard from Nancy Pelosi earlier today, and this isn't great news either, but Nancy Pelosi said she's going to wait possibly till next week or even the week after in order to send the articles of impeachment over to the Senate. The good news about this is that this will most likely allow the Senate some time to confirm President Biden's cabinet members. President Biden pretty much just wants his team together. He's pretty much just saying, can you get this confirmation done? I need my cabinet members. I cannot work. I do not want to sit here and just look at the wall. I need to do something. So that's priority number one, is getting the cabinet members confirmed. But this will also allow Congress, or specifically the Senate, to work on stimulus negotiations if she waits another week or so. So right now, that's considered a really good thing. But here's the bad news. Based on what Nancy Pelosi said earlier today, the House, or House Democrats, do not plan to come back to Washington until, or specifically hold a session in the House until February 1st. That's 6 business days away. However, she said that she does not expect anything to happen right now anyway, as far as the stimulus front, because the Senate is working on cabinet confirmations. So right now they're pretty much just, and according to Kevin McCarthy, he says Democrats are on vacation. They're on vacation right now. And some of that's true. Some Democrats, some House members are on vacation. They are on recess. Others are in Washington and trying to work with the Biden administration to get stuff done. So there are some aspects of what Kevin McCarthy said was true. Some were false. But the good news is that tomorrow, President Biden will be unveiling his economic relief plan. Just like he did today with his COVID relief plan, tomorrow it's going to be all about the economic relief plan. So over the next, tomorrow, Friday, and then he'll come back on, I think, Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, he'll do follow-up meetings as well, and also do another press conference and explain what his path forward actually looks like. So what happens tomorrow, this is going to give us a lot of detail as to what we can see and expect for stimulus moving forward. And like I said, tomorrow is going to be a big day. And here's the reason why, according to a few reports, President Biden is trying to do this tomorrow. He wants to do this tomorrow because according to a few reports, the White House feels like they are losing the trust of the American people because they promised a $2,000 stimulus check as soon as they're in office. Well, President Biden has been in office for about 1 day, and he still does not have anything signed for a $2,000 stimulus check. He still doesn't have anything going forward with a stimulus package providing additional relief to the American people that are currently suffering and those businesses that are having a tough time just keeping their doors open. So, according to this report, the White House wants to have this done tomorrow so that it takes the American people's minds off of stimulus and taking it off of that the Democrats lied to them to get into office, and now we'll put it back on, okay, we're on the road to recovery. So we'll see. Now, when President Biden unveiled his roughly $1.9 trillion stimulus package, there were very little details regarding what was in it, how it was supposed to be divvied out. Yeah, we had some details, and I explained that, tried to go into detail on that here on the channel. But tomorrow, it is supposed to be a lot more details. Again, we still don't have a bill. We still don't have the actual text of this bill or proposal out yet. Hopefully we'll get that soon. But what we do know is that some experts are saying that Republicans would just rather wait. And they're waiting on this. They're waiting on the details. And until they get the details of this bill, they cannot say whether they are for or against this proposal. But as of right now, many Republicans are on board with the roughly $1.9 trillion stimulus package as long as the language within it is done correctly. And right now, the issues, there's two main issues. $350 billion for state and local government funding. And the second one, a $15 federal minimum wage. If those two things can be fixed, and I don't know exactly how they're going to fix them, but if those two things can be fixed, this will progress the stimulus talks much faster. We can reach a resolution, we can reach an agreement very quickly, and hopefully it will be sometime in February. Now, somebody asked me earlier today, what's the chances of this stimulus package getting passed and us seeing that $1,400 additional stimulus check sometime this month in January? Well, I made it very clear. There's 100% not a chance that this happens in January. It's going to happen in February, possibly even in March. We might not see stimulus checks until April. That's what we're hearing. Now, according to a few reports, Mitch McConnell is open to stimulus negotiations. Keep in mind, Mitch McConnell is now the minority leader. However, he is still the most powerful Republican. He is the most powerful Republican at this point. He does hold a lot of power. What he says, his caucus a lot of times will go with. So if he says, no, we are not going to support this, nobody supports this, then that's probably what's going to happen. Well, he's been very quiet lately, but he's had a little bit to say. And what he said is not really comforting for Democrats, because we know he is not open to a $15 federal minimum wage. He wants that state and local government funding either completely done away with or dropped significantly. And we'll hear more from him probably sometime later on next week. But he also wants Democrats to at least consider what they are doing with how much debt the country is going into because of their spending. But at the same time, many economists are saying that a little bit of extra debt now could actually save the economy, and it would prevent the economy from a full economic collapse in the matter of just months. So yes, economists are saying we could see a full economic collapse in months. Right now, it's tough. It is very tough for a lot of people, a lot of Americans, just to put food on the table, keep a roof over their head, not even pay for their car that's been repoed for months. They're just trying to put food on the table, keep clothes on their back, and keep that roof over their head. That's the priority right now. And so right now, some economists are saying it could get worse. So that's not great. This is one of the reasons why many people are still talking about budget reconciliation. This is supposed to be the fastest way to get an agreement. However, according to multiple reports, this is not the quickest way. The quickest way to see any type of stimulus is with a bipartisan agreement. President Biden, he wants to avoid a budget reconciliation at all costs. But some are saying this might be the only way to get stimulus passed with the current the current Senate, with it being split 50-50. So again, we will see. What I can tell you is that according to all reports, a budget reconciliation would be messy and could get very complicated with the Democrats with what they want to get passed. Because with a budget reconciliation, based on everything that I've read, you have to comply with certain budgetary rules and restrictions. And that would make it very difficult to pass certain pieces of legislation that are within that $1.9 trillion stimulus proposal. It is because of this that President Biden and Democrats would like to avoid this. We did hear from a Democratic representative from Illinois, though, and his name is Raja something. I butcher his last name, so I'm not even going to try it. But he said, I quote, "I feel like that's got to be the very last resort. We've got to do everything we can to make this bipartisan." And as of right now, multiple House Democrats are wanting to do this. They want to make it a bipartisan agreement. The Problem Solvers Caucus has been on record. This has to be a bipartisan agreement. Some are saying, let's provide less stimulus. Some are saying, let's provide more. Some are saying, let's just wait. So even the bipartisan Problem Solvers Caucus is not so bipartisan at this point. But we will see as we move forward. Also, right now, multiple House Democrats are putting together a new proposal. This proposal could potentially be submitted within the next couple of weeks, is what we're hearing. This proposal would provide additional vaccine distribution funding and a $1,400 additional stimulus check. These are both considered the two most important priorities at this point. One, because having additional vaccine distribution funding, even though, and I'll explain this in a minute, President Biden signed an executive order to use the National Guard for setting up distribution centers or sites, and also for administering vaccines. What we know is that we still need additional funding. So if we can get additional funding for vaccine distribution and more people can get vaccinated and much faster, that means schools can open up, businesses can open up, and we can fully open up the economy, which is essentially what both Democrats and Republicans really want. The second thing, and the reason why the $1,400 stimulus checks are important, is actually not what you're thinking. You're probably thinking, oh, this is important because the American people need money. No, that's not what Congress is thinking. That's not what Democrats are thinking. That's not what the White House is thinking. What the White House is thinking is the optics behind not providing a $1,400 stimulus check, which we promised the American people, are going to look bad. So for Congress, which the House is not split as much as it once was. Right now, Democrats hold a very slim margin in the House. And if those flip in just 2 years, then Republicans would then hold the majority in the House. Well, also in 2 years, the Senate's going to be up for grabs, and the Senate's currently 50-50. Well, what if the American people are like, oh, the Democrats screwed us. They didn't give us $1,400 in the matter of weeks like they said. They waited 3 months to provide additional stimulus. So we need to vote them out of office. We need to get them out of the Senate. We need Republicans back in charge. Well, what happens then? Then that means President Biden, who is a Democrat, is now fighting with a Republican House and a Republican Senate to try to get bills through. That is going to be very difficult. So that's the reason why those are the two provisions in this bill, or in this proposal. So getting these passed without waiting months is currently being the goal. That is the key. Let's get these done, and we can work on other things in the future. So here's what we're hearing. The $1.9 trillion stimulus package could pass quickly if multiple provisions inside this proposal were simply taken out. This includes state and local government funding. This includes the $15 federal minimum wage. And this also includes that additional $100 that boosts or bumps unemployment benefits from $300 up to $400 and for 28 additional weeks. If those things could be reduced or excluded, this could get a stimulus package passed much faster. We also know that Republicans are fine with waiting a little bit longer for stimulus, just like Democrats are. But Democrats say if we wait a little bit longer, the stimulus package will be more expensive. But Republicans, they see this as a way to reduce the amount of stimulus because in the future, the economy is guaranteed to be much better off than it is right now. If you didn't get that guarantee is not necessarily a guarantee. You cannot guarantee something in the future when we have no clue what's actually going to happen. But at the same time, President Biden is saying he is going to sign an executive order to, I don't know if he already did this or if he's going to as of this point, but he's going to sign an executive order to allow the National Guard services to be paid for fully 100% by the government. Now, this would allow states to then use the National Guard services to set up vaccination sites and administer vaccines, which would make it very easy and much quicker. So, the reason why this is such a big executive order is because this would take away a pretty big chunk of that $1.9 trillion stimulus package. So, if we take away, let's say, some of the vaccine distribution funding that we were going to provide, because now the National Guard is taking care of it, and this is coming out of the government's budget, well, okay, so there's about $200 billion there. Well, if let's say we reduce the amount of weeks for additional unemployment from 28 weeks down to 14 because the economy is going to open up and things are going to be better, well, that's going to bring it down, let's say additional, I don't know how much exactly it is, let's say it's additional $100 billion. That brings us down to $300 billion. Well, if we also take away, let's say $100 billion on top of the $350 billion for state and local government funding and bring that from $350 down to $250, that would bring a savings about $400 billion. So that would mean this package would go from 1.9 down to roughly $1.5 trillion. And there would be many more Republicans that would get on board with this at that point. So this is what we're hearing. Right now, there's a lot of moves happening kind of behind the scenes. And as always, I'm going to do my best to keep you updated on everything that's going on. There's a lot of information. There's press briefings. There's White House, President Biden's doing actual meetings again, and he's giving us updates and doing press conferences as well. Nancy Pelosi is. And so there's so much information going out there. I'm going to try to consolidate all that to bring you the most up-to-date information. But again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing so I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on. And I'll see you guys on the next one.